Ahoy, landlubbers, it's me, your Captain Vasco speaking. And welcome to my final stream before summer break. Woo, summer break. That means that today is Saturday, June 25th, 2022. I got my birthday coming up next weekend, and my first travel plans and some time coming up the weekend after, and so I don't know, barring all sorts of possibilities, there's a lot of flights being canceled and whatnot. I really don't know what the world's gonna look like in 24 hours, much less 2 weeks from now. But the assumption is that things will go according to plan, and as a result, it'll be a few weeks before I stream again. Which is probably why it's fitting that for our Murders by Numbers stream this evening, we won't actually be starting the next case. Per the precedent I sort of established late in the first case, I feel like it's kind of nice to address the story altogether and then save the optional memory puzzles that you unlock along the way for the end of the case so they can be done together and everything just sort of groups together nicely. So there's no real story to recap other than to mention that if you missed last week's stream, we did ultimately manage to get hashtag justice for Dick Stanford. And we got an ominous warning from the woman that we understand to be Scout's creator or programmer or both. And we didn't really get any additional hints as to what the next case might be, but we did unlock it. However, again, almost definitely won't be starting that tonight because it sure looks like there's a lot of memory puzzles and it honestly could take more than just one entire stream to solve them, as the puzzles are getting more difficult over time, and I imagine that will be especially true for the optional ones, which they don't have to be as concerned about whether or not the difficulty curves nicely. They're just sort of like, well, you could do it if you want to, here's a big truckload of them. So let's go ahead and open the game. It'll take a second, of course. Issues with one of my videos being not demonetized because my YouTube channel is no longer above the threshold for caring about such things, but to get like copyright claimed, and I kind of just don't like that if I can avoid it. And I don't know exactly which part of the video it was off the top of my head. Oh no, I don't actually want. Right, all the menus are bad. I've done this to myself. Give me a second. I'm just going to restart the game. Actually, it's probably going to take more than a second, because Steam's a little weird about that. But I have indeed done this to myself. It is, like... I have quite liked this game. By comparison to, like, Wintermore Tactics Club, which we played late last year into the start of this year, which is a game I liked, but ultimately just really fell apart at the end, I thought. Like, it just didn't scale well to the length of game that it ultimately was, and the simplicity of the system wasn't borne out by how much it wanted you to play the game to finish it, things like that. Murder by Numbers, I've enjoyed the experience of the story despite it being a little ridiculous at times, and I feel like the difficulty of the puzzles has scaled really well, and I've been impressed by that. But the user interface is pretty much trash. There's just like a lot of issues with menus like not being accessible at times. It feels like it really should be accessible. And also issues with like, if you like select something on the main menu, you can't X out of it. Ever. You literally can't. If you click load, and you don't actually want to load, you're stuck loading a game. You'll have to load the game and go back to the main menu or close the game. It's just weird. It's truly like we didn't playtest this at all. Alright, we solved our one F tier puzzle. Let's advance to E tier. Everyone's favorite grade school grade. Alright, it feels like it's been a really long time since I've done one of these, even though that's not true. So let's start with the basics. Got a row of 10 here. We have one group of 6, so we can safely say it overlaps here, because even if it's at either far edge, it'll cover those up. Same applies down here, same group. We have to treat this one differently. So, like, hypothetically, furthest left this could go is, like, 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, that does actually cover the whole row because it's 10. I'm a little more used to thinking in the bigger numbers, and so it's less second nature. But yeah, because of the gaps there, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That works out nicely. We got ourselves a big old group of 9 here. Let's go ahead and switch to our purple temporary counter for a second. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's as far as that reaches in that direction. And we could do... I mean, this pretty much has to be isolated, right? So, if that's true, wouldn't that also mean that this has to be isolated? I think this is the only way this can work based on the specific tiles that we've already put in place, right? Because there have to be 2 individual groups of 1 that are separated from the others. And so that means there has to be a space on either side of this. If we were to try and assume that the next one is here, it wouldn't be separate from this, so it couldn't be the next group of 1. And if you go any higher up than this, then, like, it can't be a group of 1 anymore, because, like, everything above that is literally a group of 9. Like, I think that literally has to be the way that works. I feel like that's easier than it should be, but it's also, like, the second easiest puzzle in the group of puzzles we're looking at. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this row also is fill-inable. I think this adds to 10, right? 2, 1, and then 5's the rest of the row. Okay. I feel like I haven't had one quite like this in a while. Feels like everything just sort of groups out pretty easily. Here, there's only one group of 4 in this row, so it can only extend so far in either direction from the one confirmed space here. 2, that'll be challenging. Group of 1, not so much. Alright, here for this column, there should be a group of 3 and a group of 4, so we should be able to rule out these top spaces, since neither a group of 3 nor 4 would fit up there. And the same applies over here. Looks like the far left and right side are likely the same configuration. 2, 3, 7, 9. Can't quite fill in this row just based on what we have, I don't think. We should be able to say, for this row that has a group of 3 and a group of 4, this space should be off limits, because there would be no way to fit a whole group of 4 here by itself. So then we'd have to consider that this is part of the group of 4, and then it could only reach this far over. We should be able to consider... Yeah, that should be overlap for the remaining group of 3, because it could either be the far left 3 spaces, like space 4 or some combination of 4 from there, or it could be like 3 and then space, and then this has to be part of the group of 4. So I can't actually mark where the blank space between them is, but like these should definitely be part of the group of 3 and this part of the group of 4. So this column that I just did that in only has one group of 2, so that should be finished there. Also, 2, 4. No, technically I can't consider this part of the group of 4 there. That would be nice. Can't do that just yet. All of a sudden it seems more difficult. 2, 3, 7. Right, they're 15 tall. They're 15 tall, so it's gonna be a little bit harder, huh? Let me check something real quick. Let's switch back to purple. So, the closest to the top the group of 4 could be is these 4. Alternatively, I mean, this is another case where I should be able to rule that, like, this has to be isolated because the lowest group is 1. Similar to this, like, first column. It could be, like, 1 space. Yeah, that doesn't really do much. It's fine. Okay. There's only a group of 6 here in this row. So then at this point, we should be able to consider an additional 2 points of overlap. That all looks correct. Oh, interesting. Because of this, which I maintain is probably correct, it does indicate that these spaces should be blank because there's no group of 2 or less. So having ruled out this one, it should rule out the 2 above it. And if that's true, that should mean the first group of 3 has to be exactly there, because we know this space is filled in and it's the top available space. Then that leaves us with 5 possible positions for a group of 4. So most of that can be considered overlap. And if that's true, that also tells us that this is furthest right group of 2, and that this is a finished group of 1. Now, again, I strongly suspect that this is mirrored on the other side, such that this is probably a group of 2, and this is the other group of 1. But I don't actually have anything to verify that just yet, so I'm going to leave that alone, but it's probably true. Also, we can do the furthest right group. Here is 2, and also 2 here. Which is interesting in that this being a group of more than 1 in this row that only has a group of 5 and a group of 1, anything that can't be part of a continuous group of 5 there, all of that should be off limits. Should also rule out this friend at the bottom because we have the other single group already covered and filled in from this other thing we did before. Okay. Here's something interesting. If we look at this column right here, we already have a group of 1 filled in at the bottom. Which means that we're missing a group of 2 and a group of 3. Based on what we see here, there's no way to make this into a group of 2 such that it could be the middle group. Which means it should be the group of 3. Which would mean both that there's nothing above it, and also that the group of 2 should be somewhere in this remaining space here. Which would mean, by process of elimination, there's 1 group of 6 for this row, so that should be continuous, and we can rule out anything that doesn't fit within the group of 6. Similarly, up here, these have to be part of a group of 4, so the space between them should be filled in as well. Which is also a little interesting because it suggests for the row next to it that these 3 continuous spaces have to be part of the group of 4, and then there's 2 individual spaces I've already filled in below it, which would mean, like, those have to be, like, the bottom 2 groups, and everything surrounding them and not eligible to connect with the group of 4 should be off limits. And that being the case, this should also be a finished group of 2. And I feel like let's just go through this bottom row here. I've got another, like, 2 columns where the bottom group of 1 can't be this bottom space anymore, which would then mean that the one above it has to be the lowest group of 1. So I think we could safely rule all that out. So then if we look at this column where we just made that adjustment, the next highest group should be a group of 1. And the lowest position I could do that in is here. And then the next group up should be 2. And there's only one way to fill that in as well. Which is consistent with this row here, where I have only 5 spaces to fit a group of 4, so I should be able to consider that overlap, and then this should be filled in as well, which continues to suggest the mirrored left and right, as I suspect. So what is that? Does that do anything here? I think what that tells me is that these 2 spaces should probably be the group of 4 for this column, because there's no way to fit 4 spaces and only 3 blanks here. So, like, these 2 can't be the group of 2 at the top of the row. So instead it should reach up to here, and then we got, like, an overlap of, like, some combination of these makes 2. Okay. Alright, if we look at this row, where I just added that overlap space, we need one group of 1 and one group of 2. We have filled in spaces that are a blank apart, and there's no way that those could be one continuous group, because otherwise they would be a group of 3, which means the left one has to be the group of 1, and the group of 2 should go there. Which also indicates that should be the top group of 1, which needs to be isolated from everything. It also means that this should be the group of 2 for that top row. And it also means that this should be group of 2 for this column. Yeah, that's still fine. Look, we made this into a finished group of 3, which makes this the group of 4. Which means that this is no longer eligible to be part of the group of 5 for this column, which then tells us that this is the exact group of 6 for this row, and then also tells us where the last space here goes. Now again, it seems very likely that this space is going to mirror the right-hand side, but not proven yet. We can also say we have 2 continuous spaces here. This can't be part of a group of 3. It's an isolated spot, so that should be our finished group of 3 there, which then also leads us with exactly a group of 4 at the bottom. So that all checks out as expected. And if we fill this in, we then have the 2 groups of 2 we need for this row, because we've eliminated every other possibility. Looks like this row up here also has eliminated every possibility, because we filled in all the needed spaces. We should be able to determine that these 2 spaces should be filled in as the right group of 2 for this row, because there would be no other place to put it and still have a separated group of 1, which rules out, finishes this row with that group of 5 and makes this 6 there. That also confirms that that's the group of 4 we're missing, which finishes this column. Looks like this column's also already finished, which means this should be filled in. If we blank that out, we still need just 1 more space, so that should be filled in. It's a group of 2 there. We're almost there. Looks like this needs to be filled in, which means this should be blank. And then if we fill in the remaining spots, I think that is it. I never noticed this before, but, like, Scout seems to get happy when you fill in spaces. I don't know if he only reacts to, like, you filling in correct spaces, though. I wonder if you can break the game. I mean, you can break the game by just trying to access the menu at, like, a normal-ish time. So, like, that's always an option if you want to simply break the game. Also, I found hand wash. I guess the background is the women's restroom, so that's appropriate, I guess. And we're just gonna find a bunch of toiletries? It's interesting, we've changed the background. Is the background meant to be a hint for these memory puzzles? Should I expect this puzzle to form something that one might find in a dressing room? Okay. Yeah, this looks like this is gonna be an unpleasant one. Being 15 wide with a single group of 8, I can determine 1 point of overlap. It's gonna make a lot of these a lot harder. It's gonna make a lot of this incredibly difficult. This looks very unpleasant at a glance. I guess what that does is tell me that that's the bottom group of 2. Is that helpful for anything? Not really. There's like a lot of groups of 3, but like not a lot of tools or resources I can use to narrow down where they belong. Like none of these other, like everything here is some kind of really small group of numbers. Normally you need something big or something like really small, as in 0, to help you fill in spaces early on. There's really, like, not a lot to work with. And this isn't, like, close to the most difficult puzzle. Unless they just, like, place this weirdly in the optional memory puzzles. Alright, so, like, hypothetically... I just don't think there's, like, enough information. Let's try it. 1 space, 1, 2, 3... space 1, or it could be 1 space 1 2 3 space. Yeah, there's like nothing, man. Oh, anime, welcome to the stream. It's the bottom one, the last 8. I don't fully understand your question. I don't know that we necessarily have information to determine that. We're just getting started on this puzzle. And like, we're 15 across, so the only space that we know is filled in. There's like 7 blank on either side. So it's really just the one middle space. And then we can determine that we've got a single group of 2 at the bottom of that column just because we filled in the very bottom of it. So we know that that has to be the lowest group. I really don't know what else. These numbers are all so small. I don't know what you could possibly work with. My favorite is the row and the column that each have exactly 1. It'd be funny if this was like a real one. Like this is the 1 for both of those row and column, but see a whole lot of evidence to that effect. Yes, it's too big to try and do any overlap for that group of 3, which could be very helpful. As there are groups of 1 and multiple groups here, I shouldn't be able to make any conclusions about this or this, because they're basically the same configuration. Yeah, there's just literally, I don't know what the math is on it, but in order to do overlap, even like higher level overlap, you sort of need a large enough number, or like a large enough group of numbers to fill like a majority of a certain set space. But we have so many small numbers. You have 1 8, like a few 4s, and then like everything else is like 3s and 2s and 1s. I'll say that my instinct says, looking at these columns, that like the group of 8 is like likely somewhere in this range, where we have all these like individual groups. but I don't really have any way to narrow down specifically where it goes or anything like that. Okay, hold on. I might have something here. So, if we look at this, I'll just fill these in hypothetically for a second. There would be no way to have two separated groups. I really shouldn't have put this X here. I should know better than this. But there's no way to have this group of 4... Well, I guess it would be... Oh no, wait. Because this one counts, you would actually be able to put 2 individual groups of 1, so I can't even narrow that down any amount. Oh, that's brutal, because I wanted to, like, at least put overlap for the group of 4 over here. Or, like, the group of 4 could be, like, all the way to the right, and this could be one of the ones. Oof. I don't know what to do with this one. Of course, once you start a puzzle, you're trapped there like a prisoner. Now you can return to title from this one. It's just like nothing to work with. What do they want me to do here? It's just much too wide for the types of clues being provided to me. May suggests trying a hypothetical 8 and trying to work from there. I mean, there's not a lot to lose because there's not a lot to gain trying anything else. There's no, like, proper deduction that could be addressed from what's provided, but, like, I immediately feel like there's something wrong with this puzzle the way it is presented to me. It doesn't seem as though this has been created correctly. So let's take one look at something. So we got, like, a 1 here and a 1 here. And, like, on either side we have, like, more normal numbers. But that's more than 8 across, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Even if I could assume that much, it feels like it would be helpful, but I don't think that's, like, true. So, like, 6, 8. I mean, it could reach to this first individual group of 1, and it could be like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, no, 2. Which doesn't really immediately tell us anything about the next row up, because those could be part of a group of 4. Well, no, actually, that's not true, because, like, it would have to be, like, that, because all of these individual groups of 1 work that way. And then there would only be 1 way to fit... No, wait, that can't be right? Because then either the group of 4 would have to be to the right of this, or this would have to be allowed to be larger than a group of 1. So you could then try this, because then you would still be able to... Oh, no, wait. Because I have... That would be, like, this would be the first group of 1. This would be the second group of 1. And then, like, that would be a group of 4. So that would also mean that this is, like, the lowest group for this column. This is a closed group. This is a closed group. This, nothing else in the row could work, in theory. It still doesn't give, like, a whole lot to work with, though. Like, even if we assume that, based on some, like, common sense reading of the information provided, along with a little bit of experimentation. Like, this is plausible, but then, well, okay. Furthermore, I guess it would mean if the bottom two rows were true, then it would mean that these have to be the sole group of 3 for their respective columns, which is fine in theory for this row, 1, 1, 3, but again, there's no way for the group of 4 to work. So then this is like true brute force. There's the application of logic to rule out certain elements, but like it is done by examining things, trying all permutations of 8, which is like, I guess, a way to do this, but it seems real bad. Okay, so let's do it like this now. We've moved everything over 1 to see if it is possible that it is this group. So once again, we would mark all of these as do not disturb. And then we don't know anything about anything over here. So if this were true, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, hold on. 1, 2, 3. Why? Did I have a group of 9 before? If so, that's troublesome. I think I did. I think I maybe did. Well, whatever. Let's look at the one we have. So these would be the 2 individual groups of 1, and then we would have these 3 points of overlap in the remaining one. And then you could do, like, again, this would determine these as, like, the groups of 3 for those columns, which would be plausible with these 2 rows. Would tell us much. We should be able to rule this out for all these rows where the individual group is larger than 1. It could be 1 here, 1 here. It could be one of these spaces reaching over to the far right column. I feel like if we follow this logic, we find ourselves stuck again. We don't have a large enough group to do anything in particular with a 3 and a 4 or a 5. It's certainly not 1 and 1 and 3 or 1 and 1 and 4. So let's go back. So, let's say it reached all the way to here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we would be able to determine that those were groups of 3. This is group of 2. This is group of 1, group of 1, group of 1. So this configuration isn't possible I guess anything that incorporates either of these two spaces on the bottom row has to be wrong, because there would be no way for these groups of 3 to play nice with the fact that I need a group of 4 at the far right here. Because if the bottom group of 2 is here, there's not enough space for a group of 4. So that should be, like, logical proof that that can't work that way. So it needs to be at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 1, 2, 3, yeah. So if that were true, finished group of 2. Yeah, this one still can't work either. There's just not enough space. So this would be included in that same proof that it's not possible. Perfect. Okay, but if we then look at it this way, starting with reaching from 2 to the 3 groups of 1. And I think this is the same far right point I was working with, but I like goofed something up over here before. So we could say that that is your group of 4, and that's like the furthest right that could reach, and if it were true, it would mean the thing about the columns as mentioned previously. Somewhere over here is a group of 1. These would all be nothing. But I'm gonna undo these ones, because over here, these are some real hard X's. Like, these shouldn't be physically possible. So if we look at these 2 rows, it should be possible. Well, if we look at these rows in this configuration, it would mean that this has to be our group of 4, which would then mean that nothing else in this column works. And the only way to have a group of 3 here would be to have this big, awkward block of 9, which doesn't play correctly with this column. So that being said, that means that we should be able to rule out this space as well. So, if we switch to undo mode, switch to undo mode. It's really unhelpful. Pew, 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 pew. Watch me destroy spaces with lasers. So then it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if we look at it that way, that includes this and this. Oh, demolition. We found a puzzle with no reasonable solution other than an unconscionable amount of brute force from what collectively Anime and I have determined. The game is going okay. Life is going bad. If that means anything to you. Determined that this configuration doesn't work, but I don't remember why. I mean, it may be possible, like, there's a relatively finite amount of possibilities for the group of 8, and we have already ruled out 5 of them. So, like, if we successfully determine the exact location of the 8 and then solve everything from there, it's slightly less obnoxious than a straight-up guess and check, but it's still, like, pretty brutal. Yeah, okay, so if this version was it would not give us a lot of information, is sort of the trick. It would let us do this again. It doesn't do anything to the far right column, so nothing reaches out that far. We would then be able to... I mean, just by process of proximity, we should be able to determine that this would be in place again, because we would need this to be part of the group of 4, based on the fact that these would be part of the group of 4. And again, we run into an error with this column, where this is a group of 2 at the bottom, which it can't be. So what that tells us is... We've ruled out something yet again. Alright, so now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've ruled out most possibilities at this point, which is a little interesting. So this time around, we would have only 2 points of overlap because we would have increased the number of possible spaces, which then I think becomes a bigger gray area. So we should be able to determine by this column that this should be an isolated group of 1. And like this, if this space is filled in to be part of the far right group of 4, like the 3 have to exist here in this column. But then we immediately find ourselves with the same problem we've been dealing with, which is, if this were correct, there's not enough spaces to make a whole group of 4 over here. So that either means that it has to be exactly the far left 8, or that I've done something wrong, or some hilarious combination therein. So, going by this account, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. Okay. So then we would have... We still have 2 points of overlap here to finish the second to bottom row. And doesn't that still give us the same problem? Yeah, because there's no way to make this... You can't have a group of 4 further to the right than this. So, I've clearly done something wrong. But I'm not sure what it... Oh, wait, hold on. Wait a minute. If we're this far over... then the group of 4 changes its premise. Which may have been true for one of the groups close to here. So let's just for a second consider group of 1, group of 1, group of 2. So that would mean that this is the exact location of the group of 4. Which then would mean that this is group of 1, group of 3, group of 3, and this would technically still work to be the group of 3. But if that were true, that would mean the rest of this column is completed. So then this would be the group of 4 for this row. Which then puts us at this is a group of 2 and also nothing exists up here, and this is a group of 2 and nothing exists up here. This makes this another group of 4. And then that makes this a group of 2 and nothing else in the row works. And this is a group of 5 and nothing in this row would apply. Actually, these would also be done. So this makes this group of 3. Cancels the rest of the row. This one's a little more complicated. We know this is part of a group of 3, which rules out this, but nothing else, I believe. And at that point, it starts getting more difficult to rule things out exactly. We find a similar situation up here where this has to be part of a group of 3, which can not reach up this high or down here. These are very small groups, which aren't helpful. We can rule out some stuff for this row. So this should be a point of overlap because the 3 has to reach at least 3 over. So then it leaves only 2 available spaces for that to fit into. Apparently, the rest of this row would be done, which would make this has to be a filled-in group of 1. And okay, I think that's what I got there for now. Oh, okay. Hang on. Here, this can't be part of the remaining group of 3 for the row, so that means that this should fill in and overlap those 2 things. Which would mean that this fills in this group of 3, which then makes that part of the group of 3 for this row. Which means that this is the group of 3 for this column. Which means this is an isolated group of 1. And this is where this group of 3 goes, and then this group of 3 for the row. Okay. There's only 1 space that this can fill in for the column. Which means nothing else in the top row should apply. Which then means that this has to be filled in to complete this column. And this has to be filled in to complete this column. And this was done the whole time. And then it's done. Okay. I don't particularly like that one. I'm concerned that that's a thing they're going to want me to do more. And I think I can identify when I need to do that, but I don't like that approach. Your idea did work, Anime. I don't recall if you're one of the folks who've been doing nonogram puzzles on your own. I think I did kind of a poor job of implementing that, but we did eventually try a permutation that solves the entire puzzle if you follow it through. Now, technically, that's still a form of logical completion to the puzzle. It's by a really roundabout route that requires you to attempt to hypothetically solve the entire puzzle in one shot, rather than to just use clues to narrow everything down. It's, I don't know. It's not so bad that it's like, how dare you create this puzzle, but I don't... It feels like it's playing a completely different type of game. If that makes any sense. Also, hello, Cat Dreaming. I see you there. How you doing? Alright. This looks... bad. Alright, hang on. This is 10 tall? If I knew exactly any one location in this column, I think I can fill in the whole one. But technically there's 2 iterations you could do. And I guess you could attempt to use that the same way we used the 8 in the previous one. And that may be necessary? It's possible that's necessary? No, it was a good shout, Anime. I don't know how long it would take me to attempt to do something like that unprovoked, but I think it is most likely the intended method, because, as you point out, there's a relatively limited number of permutations, and if you attempted to do that with any other part of the puzzle, like, you'd still need to try to do the same thing, but you'd be attempting, like, so many more things. 3, 4, 5, no. 2, hold on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, hold on. This row, I think, is finite. Yeah, that row's finite. That gives us something. So this row with only a group of 5 in it means all this stuff is off limits. I'm really unclear as to whether this is part of the group of 4 or group of 1. We do, however... hold on. 2, 3... Yeah, nothing there. Same thing for this situation. It's just a group of 5 there. Not a whole lot. Okay, hold on. 6, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a point of overflow overlap, which is, I guess, what you could call it when you know that this space is filled in and you need at least 6. Oh, wait, is it? 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, that doesn't count, because that's actually 6 to the end. So then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. A little bit less than the other one, of course, because more spaces are required to fill that in. So if we go ahead and look at this column, there's only one group of 3, which can't fit between these two things we've ruled out, which means we should have a point of overlap here. Now, this is too close to the left edge for this to be anything other than the group of 1 for this row, which means that this other space that's filled in over here, that's got to be part of a group of 2, and we can eliminate everything else from the row accordingly. This can't be part of the leftmost group of 4 anymore, nor can this be part of any group of 3. That's a little something. Yeah, we're thinking the same thing, Kat. It's tough at a glance. I mean, if I played enough of these, I think I'd eventually reach a point where I would look at a number of small groups relative to the maximum height or width, depending on whether you're looking at a column or row, respectively, that I'd be like, oh, got it, that just fills the whole one. But that has not become automatic to me at all, is the way I choose to put that. So probably not like a whole lot to work with in any of these columns where I've ruled out a bunch of stuff, which is a little unfortunate. Like group of 2, like there's 3 different places that could, well, 2 different places that could still go, because I need at least one above it. Oh, you're right. I should be able to do the 5-1s column because I have, like, a space in it now, which I said earlier, that if I had 1 space, I should be able to do it. 3, 4, 5. Yes, yes. Which also helps narrow down this group of 5 to... Yeah, that looks right. Could be 5 this way or that way. But since, like, all this nonsense is ruled out, it has to stretch to the left. And it's just a question of whether this is the end or just part of that group of 5. And that same... No, that doesn't apply here. In fact, something quite different applies to the other row with a group of 5 in it, which is it could reach over to here or it could reach over to here, but these are now eliminated. Ooh, here's something fun. The topmost group for this column has to be 3. There are now only 2 locations that 3 continuous spaces could go in the column, and one of them is at the bottom, which would violate the fact that there should be something below it. So that means that this should be our group of 3. So that row's done. But that's also impossible. Because were that true, this row doesn't make any sense. There would be no way for there to be a continuous group of 4. Seems like there's something problematic there. I'm gonna go back to that later, I think. A likely solution is that... Well, no. There's no real solution to that. Huh. I don't know what that means. But it's gonna be a problem for the future. Look over here. The rightmost group has to be 3. So there should be overlap here, and it can only go to one of those spaces. Is that true that we only had a limited amount? I don't think there's enough spaces to alternate the ones, though. So we previously had ruled out this space, right? This was the one that we tried to apply the entire column for. So yeah... You would need to fill in alternating to get 3 down to the bottom. But I guess you could... Is that true? If you did it the alternating way, it would mean... Top group of 5 has to go there, and this group of 5 would have to go here. Everything in this row is a group of 1. Everything in this row is a group of 2. Top here is a group of 2, and then a group of 3, which works with this, which makes this a group of 3, which makes this also impossible. It is also impossible for that to be true. Okay. Oh god, that noise is much too loud. Who engineered that? That's very bad. Alright, we reached a point where undoing additional steps became more effort than it was worth, I think. So let's not jump the gun here. I'm gonna go with the logic that I understand to be true. I appreciate people trying to help, but it is easy to crowdsource an accident. Which sounds more profound than I think it actually is, and isn't meant to criticize anyone for attempting to help, just that maybe that my brain isn't working well enough to consider what is and isn't viable. I mean, I think you were onto something, Kat, but I think I also had misapplied something because I had become convinced that there was only one solution if I knew the position of exactly one thing in this column. Which sounds right, even saying it now, but led us to some false conclusion somewhere. So this was the other thing that was important. Right? No, wait. Something led to this being solved. What was that thing? Was it one of these? 3, 4... I mean, I didn't do these, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Is it possible to solve this knowing the location of one space? 2, 3... 1, 2... No. No, there seems to be too much variance with just one space. I feel like there was something else I managed to do from here, and it was something about something, which is helpful. 3, 5, 2, 1 and 2. Oh, I was doing stuff over here, right? Like, this can't be part of a group of 3, and there's only a group of 3 there, and this is... Right, this one's filled in because it's a point of overlap for all possibilities of the group of 3, which makes that the group of 1, which, like, severely narrows what else can be here. And then... Yeah, this is the thing where there's, like, 2 possible positions for the group of 2. Whatever this group of 3 is, broke everything. So that doesn't give me much to work with there. So we should be able to say... We should probably be able to do something over here. So, is this the trouble point? Is that this could be... Yeah, that's how it works, right? Knowing the one position where we found it. Like, basically, the thing on either side needs to be filled in, and then there has to be, like, a space and then a filled in. Because it kind of has to alternate? Or is even that much true? Maybe that's not true. Let's do this another way. So let's say 1, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, but that could go either location there. But if we did it the other way, 1 space, 1 space, 1 space, 1. Yeah, like that doesn't really work. I think it is reasonable to conclude, trying to look at this, that, like, because of the location of the X, most of it has to be situated in a certain way. But I think the 2 top positions are flexible in that way. So let's leave that for a second and consider this group of 5 here. Should narrow down to there. This can no longer be part of a group of 4, group of 3. That doesn't help. So if this is filled in, then this has to be part of the group of 6, and we get to narrow down 2 more spaces. Doesn't really do anything. Well, okay. Now if we look at the same column that started the trouble before, it really does seem like this top 3 have to be filled in. If everything we've done this time around is correct, there's literally no other group of 3 that you could fill in this way. And if we work backwards from there, we end up with 3, 4, 5, which would finish the top row. That would make this a group of 1, this a group of 3, this a group of 2, which would then make this the finished group of 4, and this the group of 1. But then this can't be correct either, because this row has only groups of 3. And there's not 3 here. There isn't 3 here. mean, I am all but convinced that that has to be in place. So what does that tell me? There must be something I can get from it, right? Let's like expand these out and ignore this. And these probably. And then like undo to there, I think? Yeah, that's right. Okay, so now we've mostly undone what we looked at there. Is there some other way? I just don't think this works. I'm just gonna try and leave this entire column alone because I hate it. I really hate this column a lot. It's bad and it isn't my friend. So, if I ignore the bad friend column, that would mean that it wouldn't be possible to make a group of 3 here and then make a separate. So this has to be part of the furthest left group of 3 for the row. Likewise, you couldn't fit a whole group of 3 here and still have it be separate. So then all of this has to be one group of 3, and then something over here has to be a group of 3. If this is filled in... Again, this also feels like this... I mean, if I'm assuming this 3, which feels like it keeps coming up as, like, having to be possible. That's where that 5 should go. Be able to do something with this 5, having blocked this off. So now we have 2, 3. So we have 9 spaces and 5. So all but 4. That looks correct. But like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that can't be it. I mean, that looks correct. We know from process of how much I hate everything that these two things can't... They have to be separate. They're too close together. If I tried to make a group of 4, they would merge into a group of 5. So then, hypothetically, that would have to be true, and the rest of the row has to be like that. This is fine as a top group. This is fine as a top group of 2. Is this fine as a top group of 3? If this were true, it would mean... narrowing down that group of 5 considerably. But this can't be true. Because then this would have to be the lowest group in the row, and there's nothing above it. It is probably also the case that that column of the bad friend column is not doable, right? So I think you could only fit 4 now, having blocked that off in that way. Yeah, there's something wrong here. Hey, wait, give me a second. Alright, give me a second. Alright, I muted the game because doing that makes the worst noise in the universe. Oh god, why is it doing this? No one asked for this. Oh god. Interface. Calm yourself. Lord. You know what, game? You're really not helping my day. We'll begin this again. There is something about this one. And I'm gonna speculate that the thing about this one is that I am not fully functioning. 6. But, like, it's giving me trouble. That's right. I'm pretty sure these were safe deductions, as was this. And then this is the overlap. That's about as far as I've gotten in this puzzle, huh? I mean, it must be the case that this 3 doesn't go here. It seems like it has to. But every time I do anything with that at all, it's like impossible. Alright, let's try... try another new approach. If I count this one, 3 and 2, and 3 and 3, or 1, 2, yeah, 1, 2, 3 space, 1, 2, 3 space, 1, 2. And then space 1, 2, 3. I think these can be considered overlap. There's enough of this row filled that I think these are accurate. So let's then say that this finishes this column, as the group of 3 has to be joined there. It's only one group. That would make this group of 2 at the bottom, which is fine. That seems to track. That would do something different here. A little different. It would indicate that this has to be the bottom group of 1, and then nothing could be below it. And then, I mean, essentially the same thing is true here. Yeah, the same thing is true, like, demonstrably true there. So then, that would, like, pretty severely limit where the group of 6 at the bottom goes. This seems to track. This seems to track. This... There's only groups of 1 in this column. Which would mean that if this is filled in, the space below it can't be, and then the group of 6 goes specifically here. Which would then mean that these have to be the bottom groups for each of their rows. So if we look at it that way, is this completable? 3, 2, 3, 3. Okay. That feels pretty relevant. This would be a bottom group of 2. This should be off limits for multiple reasons. So, what I have here is 4 spaces where a group of 3 can occupy. Cool. 2 spaces that a group of 2 must occupy. Good. 2 individual spaces that 2 individual things should occupy. Cool. All of that looks good. But these blanks... I don't know, if we just look at the column, there's only 1 filled in space, and it's there. Okay, great. So... that makes this group of 3. Still fine. No problems yet. No problems yet. I'm leaving the bad friend row alone. It's not a good friend. If we look at this, I need 3 individual ones out of 6. Yeah, 6 spaces for this column. Unfortunately, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, it's not enough to go on. This is the thing that gets us in trouble every time. So I haven't done anything in this iteration of reality that lets me eliminate enough spaces here to consider a definite group of 3 on the left and 1 on the right, even though that feels pretty likely. That leaves me needing something. Hang on here. 2, space, 1, 2, 3. Should be able to do some overlap here with what's remaining. 1, 2, space, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, space, 1, 2. Alright, those should apply correctly regardless. And that's actually enough information to do a few things. First off, this row has only groups of 2, so that's finished, in theory. Just 2 together here, which means that these would have to be part of the group of 4. Which would limit where they could reach, like here. Or to, more importantly, over to here. And then nothing over here could apply, which means the group of 3 couldn't go here, nor could the group of 2. And that's promising because that group of 3 has been wrong every time. Every time. Because of this... Hang on, I need 3? I think that means that this needs to be filled. And it would also mean that it's part of the group of 3 for this row. I think that's true because there's no way to get 3 out of 4 with alternating things. Still, I'm just leaving this for as long as possible. I just really hate it, like, a lot. If you look at this, then... This is overflow overlap, right? This can no longer reach 5 spaces over. So what it means is that the overlap goes backwards. So now we can consider these points of overlap. That does make this top group of 2 and a top group of 1, which is fine. And then that would tell us that these are exactly the 4 spaces for that group. Alright, so far, still have not encountered a problem, technically. What else you got? 2, no, nothing there. Okay, so check this out. This here, this column has only groups of 1, so this has to be voided, which makes this full, which means that this column is completed with a group of 2, a 3, and a 2. And all of that still checks out. This being here also means we know the exact position of the group of 5 for this row. And then we start running into a little bit of trouble. Hang on here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need a 5th. So that should tell us the precise location of that group of 3. And then if we look at this column over here, I have 2 blank spaces and I need 2 individual ones. So that's cool. That would mean that this row is finished. Also, this would have to be a group of 2. So 1, 2, 3. This last space should be filled in, which then means that that has to be part of the group of 5. Does that generate any problems? That would then mean that this is part of the top group of 3, and also it just completely finishes that column. And it would mean we have the exact right number of filled-in spaces for this column. This would be the exact location of the group of 3 here. This has to be a group of 3. This is done. I only need a 2 and a 1. This has to be a group of 2, which also finishes the row. And then, what am I still missing? 1 and a 1. So hunched right now. That gets so loud. What is it, though? Disagree. I don't think it's gum. I'm pretty sure it's not gum. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's gum. Like, legitimate... Like, I'm assuming that the green part's supposed to be the packaged wrapping, and the silver part's supposed to be the foil wrapping. Like a Wrigley Spearmint gum? But this is, like, the weirdest angle you could possibly choose to shoot that from. That, like, deliberately obfuscates what you're looking at. God, I feel tired. Alright. I mean, I'm looking at this 9 and 4, and I should be able to get something out of that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Space 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, that's something. I wish it was at the far left. That would be something better. This has to be a group of 1. That should be true for any row where the furthest left group is 1. Because you wouldn't be able to slot it in the left column and have it be distinct from what we've put in place. Uh, 7 and 2? That's 9 out of 15? I should be able to get something. I don't know if it'll be extremely useful, but let's try it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blah, or 1, 2, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, not a whole lot. But it's something, and then we should be able to similarly, because both of these rows happen to have the far right group of 1, should be able to eliminate the space on either side of them. Now that, if we look at this row that overlaps the left and the right thing that we did, we should be able to consider 2 points of overflow overlap, because it could count 4 right from there, or it could reach the left and then get over to here. Either way, these should be blank. And then let me consider something. For this column here, 1, 2, 3, 4, space 1, space 1. We could technically have nothing above this, so we can't start doing group 4 overlap for above that space, which would have been nice. Nothing much to be gained from those. Should have some overflow overlap here. Because it has to be at least, like, from the left over to here, or not. And then 2, 3, 5, 4. 1, 2, 3. 5. Let me do this in a way that's not entirely cerebral. One possible place that the group of 5 could go is here, or it could reach the other side, canceling this. Alright, that seems correct. Similar to the above. Should have some overflow overlap here. I mean, most of this column is groups of 1. Would you be able to... 2, 1, 1... You could. Again, it's possible that nothing above this is filled in. The one in the right-hand column doesn't help very much. Alright, so the top thing in this left column could be a group of 6. So these 2 spaces that are blocked off, like, that can't be anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that means all but 2 should be overlap on either side. That makes this a closed group, which would then make the 9 reach down to here, which would then make this the closed 1 group. That also makes this a closed group of 2, and because nothing's bigger than a group of 2 in this column, that should be accurate. I don't see an immediate problem with that being true. That would mean that this is exactly where the group of 3 goes, which again feels like that's not an issue. Alright. Oh, and this should be a group of 2, because we know the hard end to that, and we know what the first group is. 1, 2, 2. So I'm pretty sure this column is done, which feels weird, but appears to be accurate, which would then also make this the leftmost group of 2 there. That's fun. Now I'm gonna need something else. Oh wait, this also has to be... Hold on, this has to be a group of 2 because I blocked this out because I finished this column. Which then also means that this should be the group of 6. And then that completes the column because I already have the one below it. Okay. And that makes this a group of 3. And how many spaces do I have here? This is 7. And I need to fill 6 of them, so I should be able to get some pretty serious overlap. 1, 2, 3, 4... What? I did it. That seems wrong somehow, but that is correct. So, right, I guess I didn't count the space or something. I'm having a real tough time. I've had a really rough week, and I thought I'd be fine doing this, and if this live stream hasn't demonstrated, I'm not fine. I need you to know that I'm not fine. Great. So this should... 1, 2... No. This should be an isolated group of 2, but I don't think I have enough information to rule whether this is the top group of 1 or the middle group of 2. That's not very helpful. 2, 3, 4. Well, there's no way that... Can either of these be part of the group of 4 anymore? They can't be, right? Because if either one of these... I mean, only the top one could realistically be part of the group of 4, right? And if we count 4 down, then it merges with the other one and would instead become a group of 5. So what that tells me is that these are both of the bottom ones for this column. And that the overlap of the remainder should indicate where the 4 goes. At the top of the column. Hello, Cotillion. How are you? I'm tired. Column 2. In column 2, we can look at this row and say that this space has to be blank because the row has only groups of 1, which then tells us that this is the top of the group of 4 and also the first group of 4. This is a fair observation. What do I need here? Unclear. Okay, fair enough. Here is also not great. 2 and 1. Nope, nothing there. 1, 1, and 2. 2. Nope, that's not quite it. We know that the only things remaining in this row are groups of 1, so we can rule out those spaces, as helpful as that is. What about this? I keep looking at it and not wanting to do the math because it sounds really hard. But, like, you could put a group of 2 down here, have this be 7, or you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up to the second space. I don't think I can actually do anything there, even though it feels like I should be able to. I need 2 out of these 4 spaces filled, but that's not quite enough. Oh yeah, I'm missing a 2 here, not a 1. So I can be like... these are eliminated because only one of the adjacent squares can be correct. And if we do that, that changes the math on the 7. So none of this can be part of the 7 anymore. Which would mean... 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess what that tells me is that these are points of overlap. Because it could still technically be connected here or not. And it could still technically reach up to the top, as far as I can immediately tell. But that does complete both of these rows. Because they only needed an individual thing in them. Okay. Lots of 1s, lots of places. Okay, if we look at this column, everything below the group of 2 is a group of 1. So even though there's space for this to potentially be larger than 1, we already have a confirmed group of 1 here. So this has to also be a group of 1. Still... like 3 possible places the group of 2 can go. One, 2, 1, 1, 1. Nah, I got nothing there. That's way too much. This can't be anything because this row has only groups of 2. This can't be anything because the only missing group is 3, which then means we have a point of overlap here, which means the group of 4 has to be here. And then I'm missing a group of 2 from this row, which would have to go there. Then means that this is a group of 2, which means can't be anything filled in below it because the bottom 2 groups are 2. Gives me 2 possible locations, which technically both appear to be in play. I wish I knew where the 2 was in this column. It upsets me. And this stupid 7 and 2. Still got nothing there. We have... oh, hold on. We've narrowed this down enough that this has to be a point of overlap between all eventualities of the remaining group of 2. Which, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... That's the whole 7, right? My brain is really struggling. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So nothing above that, and there's only one location where the group of 2 below that can go. Which means that this row is done, and that this is nothing, which was always true. We've somehow almost narrowed this down to exactly where the 2 remaining ones should go. Quite have enough information for that, I don't think. Yeah, this column's still got a lot of action, frankly. This column here, though, we've already located the 2 groups of 1, which limits us to... This is where the 2 can go in the column, and also finishes the row by completing that group of 2. Okay. I'm clearly missing some sort of thing. Alright, this far down, this can't be a group of 2, because it would have to be the bottom group here, right? So if I do that, then I can determine that both of these blank spaces for the row should be filled in, because I still needed 2 more. That tells me that this is the top group for this column, which then means this is filled in and this isn't. Which also means this is filled in. Which also means this is filled in? 2, 1, 1, 1? Yeah, that seems right. This becomes overlap. I'm almost certain this space is filled and this isn't. 2, 1... Okay, that's there. Doesn't really do anything. This has to be filled in. Means that nothing else in the column can be there. No, wait. What it means is this is filled in, which we also know from this row of 5 I didn't finish. And with that in place, 1, 2, 1. So that's finished. That's filled in. This isn't. That is. What am I looking at? It's... Maybe it's a swirl of ice cream? Or like... a doll wearing a jaunty hat? Let's fill it in and see if it's correct. But I didn't encounter anything that seemed like a problem. Why is that so loud? Why is that actually so loud? What's with the volume of the game? Is this what having a stroke feels like? I always wonder about that, because there's a lot of things in life that make me feel crazy right now. Maybe it's the Statue of Liberty's torch. It's Champagna. Honestly, anime, your guess of a Starshine Award sounded very plausible. When you colorize this, it looks like a representation of what the inside of my brain feels like right now. Which is to say, a jumbled mess of colors. Oof. Great. We're up to C? When did we do that? Is there only one D puzzle? It doesn't matter. Thinking isn't gonna help. Thinking doesn't solve anything. God, this looks difficult. At least there's some big numbers. Alright, let's... we got a couple rows of 11. And so that means all but 4 on either side of 15. And then we do it again. Here's a demonstration of how not functioning I am. Demolition said, like a minute ago in chat, good reference. And I honestly don't remember what reference I made. And at the time I initially read that, I also don't know what reference that I made. So all but 5 for a group of 10. Which then, boop. Those have to be joined. That's a single group. So what does that give us? 3, 8, 9? 10, 11? Oh, Champagna. Yes, fair enough. Alright. Honestly, feels like there should be a lot to work with here. It's just a big grid. It's got that big grid energy, you know? You know what it's like to have that big grid energy? Let's consider the rightmost column for a second. So we have 9 spaces here. There's just truly and genuinely no way for there to be 6 and 4 in this small group down here. And there shouldn't be a way to get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Yeah, that doesn't work either. So then we can treat this as the 6 has to be in the top and the 4 has to be in the bottom. Which actually seems like real helpful. So it's 9, so it should be 3? Yeah, that looks correct. So then we can count out from the right. Group 3, nope, group of 1, group of 7, okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we should be able to... hang on. Overlap, overflow. And that has to be empty. Great. Tended to that and to this, but not these groups. 3, 3, 3. Okay. Well, seems like a pretty safe assumption that these 3 are part of a group of 6 to the bottom here. And considering that, I don't think I can do anything else with the column yet. Okay, what else can we look at? 2, 3, and 5. So there's only 2 groups in this column. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no way that they're part of the same largest group of 5. So we should be able to narrow this down to say 2, 3, 4, 5. So the bottom can't be anything. And 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think that's about as much as we can confirm for the moment. But it's something. We do at least know that this is part of the group of 3 and this is part of the group of 5, which I will definitely forget. 3, 2, gone. No recollection of whatever we were just talking about. Do anything with this I should be able to do something with. Is it 6 and a 5? Let's take a look at that. The leftmost configuration is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the rightmost configuration is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably wants to consider these overlap, and I think that's technically true. But I'm not currently able to articulate exactly how to prove that, because the overlap would involve them being in either the 5 or the 6 in a way that I genuinely can't wrap my head around, so I'm just going to delete those for now. Could be, could not be. Well, this can't be part of the group of 2, because that's the bottommost group. And there's something below it in this column. Also can't be the topmost thing, because that's only a group of 1. So I know that these 2 spaces are part of the group of 3, and what that also tells me is that this other thing is part of the group of 2, which either reaches up or down. Probably down. Can I confirm that by looking at this group of 6 and group of 4? Well, that's an excellent question, hypothetical viewer. 6 space 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. Space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's my legitimate overlap. So, to answer my previous hypothetical question, no. What does that do for me? Well, we look again at that column with the group of 3 and the group of 5, and having determined previously, I know I said I'd forget about it, but I lied to you. This top one has to be part of the group of 3, and the bottom one has to be part of the group of 5. But if this is proper overlap, and I'm not lying to myself, and the same is true for this one down here, then that is exactly where the group of 5 goes. And if that's true, we also narrowed down where the group of... No, we don't, because that was the limit there. But we do cancel out this. And because there's no group of 1 for either of these rows, this is nothing. And also because there's nothing smaller than a group of 3 that's already accounted for, then we know that this should be overlap for the one space a group of 4 can go. Oh, boy, Arcadius, welcome to the stream. I'm glad, thank you for saying that you appreciate me. That means a lot. I'm going through it right now. I appreciate you as well. I do have a nasty tendency to go out of my way to do side content to finish games. I was honestly thinking about this earlier today. And I was just like, why do I do this to myself? I should sometimes be able to just play a game to completion and not feel like it's homework. But for some reason, it's one of the things that's broken in me. But I'm glad that it is meaningful to someone, because I know that when I'm watching stuff, I will often just be like, huh, I wonder what that's like. And if the person streaming or recording the game or whatever does it, then it's like, ah, that question is answered for me, thank you. But I am glad that that is meaningful. Also, hello, Sniper Justin. Hi. I hope you're doing well. So yes, this is the overlap for this. There's way many places a group of 2 or a group of 1 could be, so not messing around with that. Oh, this bottom row has only a group of 5 because we ruled out a few things. We now know that it has to be somewhere over here. Which means I get 1 point of overlap? Nice. That lets me count up the bottom group from here. And since that terminates in exactly this point, I now know where the group of 4 is. Finger guns. Okay. What else can I do with information? I've somehow ruled it out such that for this column, this can't be the bottom group of 2, which means that this is the bottom group of 2. And that the remaining points are individual groups of 3. Yes, and I can't do anything else than that so far. I can, however, say that this should be an additional point of overlap because I've narrowed down such that there's only 2 positions that this group of 4 can be in. Cool. This column has only a group of 1 and a group of 4. The bottom group has to be 4. There's no way I can fit 4 here. So I've ruled that out, which then for this row means that the group of 2 can't be here. Oh, also the group of 2 is exactly here, because I've filled in the space, and that's how stuff works. Great. I finished a row. Katia says, sorry if my message was random and cheesy, just had a really bad experience with someone purposefully choosing not to finish a game because it had multiple credit scenes, and according to her, once the credits roll, she is done with the game. I mean, I honestly respect that opinion, but I also definitely understand where you're coming from. And, this is... How can I say this that doesn't sound stupid? I think I can simply say, never apologize for saying a nice thing to someone unless they take it badly, which usually means that there's some communication gap. But, saying a nice thing to someone should just be fine, and I appreciate it a lot. I wasn't kidding, I'm really going through it right now. If you were lurking or anything earlier, I have been really struggling to do these puzzles, and they're getting harder, sure, but, also, I'm just, really not thinking very clearly right now. I'm just genuinely struggling. Oh, hey, I noticed a thing. This column, the bottom group is 5. So it goes here. This is the bottom 5. And then also, the next group is 4, and it can only fit there, and then this is 1, and I finished that column. But yeah, I definitely get that. I mean, here's the extent to which I understand your frustration, Alcadius. I still feel bad that I never collected all the golden spiders or whatever they're called in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. I genuinely think about that sometimes. It would require a lot of work, especially since I haven't played that game in like over a decade or something close to it. But like now it's like, God, it seems really difficult to approach that concept. So this row has only 2 groups. And there's like, this is clearly a separate group from this. So like this has to be part of the group of 5. And this over here is the group of 6. So this space should be filled in. Which actually I think tells me a lot. Give me a second. So like I can't merge these together and have them be either the group of 2 or group of 3. But we have these 3 spaces already filled in. 1, 2, 3. And that can't reach up to here either. So like these have to be part of the group of 6, this has to be part of the group of 3, and this has to be part of the group of 2. Which tells me that this has to be a blank space to separate the 2 groups. That has to be where the 2 goes, and that has to be where the 3 goes. Which then gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's also... apparently that whole row was just finishable. Hi, Neko. Welcome to the stream. I've become bad at this game. How are you today? Oh, I finished this row. Look, there's 1 here, and I needed 1. I also need to take a look at the bottom row, because I filled in some stuff. And, like, it's 1 continuous group of 4, so... I ruled out some things. And now, because I've done that... The bottom group here is a group of 2, which means that this is where the group of 5 for the bottom row goes, making that a finished group of 4, which makes this a finished group of 4, which makes this the bottom group of 2, and then the next up group of 3, which also determines that this is where the 5 goes. And I'll look at that column in a minute, because I'm thinking in a lot of directions right now. This should be a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Group of 5. And that should be isolated from another group of 2, 3, 4, 5. That should work that way. And then this is another group of 5. And I don't have the same information there. And this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that all still fits, but that would mean 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that row looks like that. This row looks like this. This has to be continuous because there's only 1 group in this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Great. I was really concerned there would be a secret problem there that I couldn't comprehend. If you look at this row, rightmost group is 2, which also tells us 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what the right column is. I said I'd come back to it, and I did. Hang on, chat's happening. Okay, that I can't address because it involves things I don't understand. Echo says, sorry I'm late. Thunder woke me up when I couldn't get back to sleep. I have had so many sleep problems, I will not criticize anyone for that, and also, you don't have to feel bad for coming late to streams. I know I'm kind of neurotic myself because, like, I always get crazy if I miss streams I'm trying to watch, but I don't adhere that to normal people that aren't neurodivergent. Right. Still about a game I don't know. Demolition says, imagine if your Somnium playthrough was only the first ending. Yes, it's like that. People are talking about the streamer or the YouTuber that Alcadius was watching, talking about Persona, which I haven't played Persona, and apparently it has branching endings similar to AI Somnium Files, which we've been playing like a ton of. And if you only got like 1 ending and then we're like, done, that would be insane because you like literally haven't experienced the full story. And it's actually really interesting because in visual novels, I don't know if 999 like innovated this, don't know that to be true. It's possible that that influence is relevant, because, like, that was a pretty big visual novel, I think. Like, it had success in the West with a genre that's, like, not particularly popular in the West. But, like, 999 did that, and so did its sequels. And other games since then have done it. And so, like, it feels like that has become, like, kind of a genre convention. But, like, the first time you play a game like that, if you don't know that and the game doesn't indicate it, like, I kind of understand, at least on some level, the instinct to be like, I beat the game. I feel like me, personally, the neurotic, like, pretender writer, would, like, reach an endpoint like that and be like, that wasn't very satisfying. Am I sure that was everything? And at least, like, check. Oh, you can get the true ending without doing the others. That's something Uchikoshi really doesn't like doing. For some reason. He likes to design his games in such a way that you have to play all of the possible experiences to unlock the true end. He really wants you to see all the content. To the extent that, like, all of his games that do that have artificial locks that prevent you from playing them, even if you could, in theory. Anyway, it's just interesting to me because, like, it seems natural to, like, consider that type of scenario now, but, like, it's also pretty rational to consider a world where, like, someone just doesn't know that, you know? Alright, that row was done. I didn't vocalize it, but it was done. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, this should be a group of 1. And then, yeah, that looks correct. What am I dealing with here? This should be able to neutralize this, right? It's 3 groups of 3. And I already have that here, so like 3, and then 3, and then 3. And then 3's company 2. Which then also makes this 6, which makes this 3, which makes that row complete. And now I have like a really weird cross-section of what's remaining here. Ooh, that sounds rough. Persona doesn't let you start the game over at certain points, so you can have to replay the entire game again if you want other endings. I'll say that type of design has, in the past, put me off to trying to get other endings. I mean, there's lots of video games that have multiple endings. It's a thing that, like, only one movie I can think of has ever done. So it's, like, more of a video game convention. And just generally, that's become more popular over time. But, like, I can think of some games that, like, I know to have other endings that I play through to one ending, and I'm like, oh, I'd have to do, like, all of that over again? Like, nah. Yeah, I'm not saying this is the case. Should save states or whatever, but, like, I'm just saying that's, like, a different type of scenario to the Uchikoshi design. Oh, I know where this 11 goes, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Great. Somehow that was the one space to fill the leftmost column that doesn't tell me where the group of 2 goes. Perfect. Speaking of the top, I need only a group of 3 up here, so, like, it's not hiding in any of those spaces. And the rightmost group here is 5, so, like, that's not it. That also gives me overflow overlap, which is my new favorite word that I made up. Of this many, because it could be 5. No, is it 1 more? Yeah, it's 1 more, because I need 5, and it can either be in this space or not be in this space. Yeah, I think it can still be either of those. That's fine. Oh, I also know where this 10 column goes, right? That should be true. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which then limits where this 3 goes further. And since this isn't part of the 5, it does indeed confirm that goes there, which is this and that. Because if one of these is filled in, it has to be part of the group of 2, and if this is filled in, it has to be the group of 3. So the leftmost column's done now. This is also done because this fills out the missing group of 4. And I have finished group of 2, finished group of 3. And then 6? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, apparently that's just done. This one's a little more complicated. Hang on. Let's look at this. 1, 3. I've meant to fill this in before, I think. 1, 3, 3, 1. 1, 3, 3, 1. Yeah. So the column is correct, but then that tells me that this group of 6 is exactly here. Does that still track? 3, 3, 3, 4. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah? Yeah. 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 You know, halfway through this kind of looked like a gun or something, but now it, I think it's Ditto's parents fighting again. So, like, sometimes Scout gets really happy when I fill in a space, or maybe just periodically smiles. But he doesn't do it consistently. And so it makes me think there's some secret to the ooze, if you know what I mean. Does literally anyone in chat know what I mean? Man, I did not feel tired when I started this stream, and strictly speaking, I don't feel tired. Man, does my brain hurt. Maybe it's still a gun? Maybe it's like that gun that Wendy Oldbag had that was just like a ray gun, and she was acting as security to the, like, Will Powers Idol contest, whatever, in Phoenix Wright 2? Oh, I did something wrong. What am I? 1 and... Literally everything looks right. What? One and 1 and 5. What? I mean, I have some sense of... Hang on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So, like, that shouldn't be filled in. It doesn't... I'm not sure what it doesn't like about the 4. I understand it also doesn't like something here. But there would be no way to just move... Like, if I moved this 1 point over, it would break, like, 4 different things. How is it... What is it... What's the problem here? Like, I don't actually see a problem. Usually if I reach a point like this, I'm like, oh, I see what I did. And even if I can't fix it, like, immediately, I at least, like, know what I did wrong. But I, like, don't actually... Like, there seems to be too much that's correct for this to be wrong. Like, I can't really adjust the 3. No, that doesn't work. 5, 2, 6, 3. I mean, like, so much of this is clearly correct. 1, I can't. I'm gonna look at chat. No one seems to be trying to spoil anything or backseat or anything, but I might need someone's help anyway. Everjestant says, I love that the OG cast of plushies is slowly growing and growing behind me. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm just having trouble, like, storing them. I have many friends, and I love them all very much. And I like more friends that I don't already have, but I have kind of a small apartment because I live in Los Angeles and stuff is very expensive. So I have lots of good friends, but then I only... It's finite space. Like, anything I can think of to change doesn't feel like it works. And, like, there's nothing below these... 115. Like, if I moved the group of 5, it would break, like, a bunch of things. And if I moved this group of 2, it would break a bunch of things. This looks right. Like, just, like, there's not, like, an obvious thing I did wrong here, right? Like, I know I'm not, like, doing great today. I'm not gonna pretend that that isn't true. But, like, when I look at this, and I look at all the side things, I see the things that it's highlighting, like this column and this row. But, like, if I was to, like, move this one down, then it would make, like, a group of 3 here, which isn't correct, and it would also make this not be a group of 3. Like, anything I can think of to change, like, breaks more than it fixes. Possible. Can't really... What? Wait. That... Mathematically, that seems incorrect. If I highlight this, it tells me that this column is wrong. If I unhighlight it, it says everything is filled in. But then there's only one of the 2 groups necessary for it to be done. That isn't correct. This column can't be done in this configuration. Like, this literally doesn't make sense. Like, it seems bugged. Like, it literally seems bugged. Like, not just because there's some possible universe in which, like, something needs to be adjusted, although, scouring over this, it doesn't look like I've done anything wrong. Like, I just genuinely don't see anything I can adjust that doesn't break more than it fixes. But, like, also, like, something is clearly incorrect here. Where if I don't have a group of 1 and a group of 4 in the column, it still says that it's done. Which, like, literally cannot be true. There's just no universe in which it is possible for the game to consider this column done with this space blank. This puzzle is... I don't know. Erase the column and redo it. Okay. What? What? Alright, just to be clear, that wasn't me. I did it right. I solved that puzzle. Also, it's not a great rendition of a suit carrier, because in relation to the perspective of the rest of the garment bag, which is like the real Earth name for that as far as I know, the hook seems much too large. It's 8:12. It feels like it's noon tomorrow. Alright, we should be able to do at least one more unless the whole game's broken. I don't know. I mean, the hook at the top is definitely pirate hookable. I mean, it would explain why it's much larger than like a hanger hook, like a clothing hanger hook would be at like the top of the garment bag. Okay, 15 across, all but 3... That's why I hate this function. All but 3 is overlap. Which then lets us do a bunch of top groupings that aren't helpful because they're all literally 1. Thank you for that game. Should be able to get something out of this awkward row. 1 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Blah, blah, blah. 1 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's whatever that is. And then the 12 and 1, I'm sure we got overlap there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or one space, blah, 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 blah. There. That should be it. It should be one space, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I wanted to give myself credit for that, but my brain's like not working. And it's not helping that the game is also not working. I mean, for these... Hang on a sec. So, for each of these columns where the bottom group is... Well, in the case of this particular column, I've literally already filled in everything. That's fine. But if we look at these ones next to it, where there's... No, wait, this one also... This one also is fine. Don't worry about that one. But here in this one I promise this point is relevant. I can't fit a lower group of 2 than this, and there's already 2 together, so this has to be the bottom group of 2. Which then gives me some overlap, where there's not much 3 in the middle. Not messing around with these 3s or that 6 just yet. This is fun. So if we look at this row and the one below it, I've managed to establish what... Well, I guess I've established for this one in particular. The one below it almost definitely works the same way, but I won't put that in just yet. But I need a 4 to the left of and to the right of this group of 1. So I can, like, plug in the overlap there. And, like, just, I mean, I guess I can consider this the same way. Like, I don't need to fill this in to know that if I need to fit 2 groups of 5, they're not going to be overlapping the middle there. So I can just put in the appropriate overlap, which in this case is 4 out of 6. Yeah, okay. For some reason, the right side was looking bigger to me. Wow. Wow, is this row done? Because there's not a lot of space to put in 4 groups when I've plugged in nothing. 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, space 1. Yeah, sure looks like that. So 5 means that I should have a point of overflow overlap because it could reach down to the bottom, except that it would need an additional space to do so. And then it could reach like 1, 2, 3. And this is nothing, and this is overlap. Yep, that seems correct. Okay, so that makes that a finished group of 5. Don't know if the same thing will apply over here, so I'll leave that alone. I mean, this is, like, definitely a group of 1. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just kind of know this whole situation. 1, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. Yeah, had enough to finish that row. Cool. That eliminates more overlap for the 12. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, okay. Did that correctly. This has to be an isolated group because the row has only groups of 1. Which means that per this column, there's no way that a group of 5 can be at the top here, which then means 12 goes there and makes that a finished group, and then means that this has to be filled in to complete that row. Okay. So this has to be part of the rightmost group of 3. That's the only way that works. And it should also mean that I get a point of overflow overlap. Does it tell me anything about this group of 7? 3, 4, 5. Could go down to the bottom or up to the top, but either way, this has to be filled in, right? Because how many spaces is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely filled in. And if that one's filled in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That feels wrong, but is correct. And that would mean that there has to be a 1 here to finish out the row. And because I need a separated group of 1 and 5, I would not be able to put a separated 1 down here. Which means it has to be the bottom group of 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that tracks. So that's then that group of 2 there, which then tells us that's where the 7 goes and completes that group of 2. Can't fit a group of 3 here, or do anything there just yet. This entire column is apparently done and probably has been for some time. Same is also true here and here. And here. And here. And this has to be filled in as expected, which means that this column is done, which means the one has to go somewhere over there. What's the new mystery? We're completing the optional memory puzzles that we unlocked during the quest to get #JusticeForDick. So there is no additional story yet, which is why I assumed no one was going to watch tonight, if I'm being honest with you. Great. Okay, so... I mean, this has to be filled in for, like, multiple reasons. Now I've narrowed this down enough that, like, a group of 3 overlaps in this fashion. But also, like, I need a group of 1 that's separate from this, which is clearly part of the group of 5. Which is the only way to do that. We also know that this is filled in, so that's helpful. We also know that this is a group of 5. Yes, that is 5. That number is 5. I've counted to 5. This should also tell us... Oh, good grief. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then 1 over here. And similarly, I need a group of 1 over here, which should complete this column. And then make this the group of 3 that also completes the group of 6. And then... There, I think I did it. I think it's like a little robot man with a tie. I'm all about #JusticeForDick. You know that I made it my life's mission to get justice for Dick, and I would not stop until Dick received justice. What? Why? Why is that possible? Controls. God, it sure does just, like, get loud if you, like, do multiple in a row, huh? Definitely could have used a coat of polish for this game in general. My biggest gripe is definitely still just, like, the menus and, like, the inconsistent access to things like save. Like, there's also just, like, not a reliable, consistent, like, if I'm on this screen, I can, like, exit to main menu or title or what have you. It's the color pink. Oh no, it's a clutch. I can kind of see that. I feel like you could distinguish that a little clearer than what the puzzle gave us, but like I definitely see what they were going for on this one. That one wasn't actually that hard, which I know I'll be punished for saying. It's Tubby Custard. Sure, it's Tubby Custard. Alright, so we're now 15 tall. We have a group of 8, which means we get 1 point of overlap. This is a very familiar sensation. This is where we started the stream, and it was very difficult for me. Is this one going to be nicer? It's very unclear, just glancing at it. Alright, it's only 10 wide. So that one group of 6 ought to work like that. This other group of 6. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should be fine. Top group here is 3. Top group here is 1. Top group here is 3. And the second one down is 2. So that should work in this fashion. Because I had 1 filled in, it needs to be part of the next group. Yeah, it feels like it wants me to do that same thing from before, except it's giving me a little more help, which is weird, because if that's the case, it probably should have given me this one first. That gives me more than just literally 2 spaces on the board. Yeah, it's a shame that we don't get... I mean, maybe... Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. This game has already established that we live in the 90s, and that we have a flying robot that scans things and solves crime in a way that is not chronistically accurate to the 90s. So what if, in the next case, the ghost of Dick Stanford haunts us and complains about kids these days or something, and then we get to make a bunch more jokes about Dick Stanford. Hey, this is where the group of 4 goes, huh? That's neat. Because I can't fit a 2 and a 4 there, and I already filled in a space. Cool. Okay, top group for this column is 2. And I already have 2 here. So this has to be top group. Which rules this out as being part of the 6. Which then gives us this much overlap. We go 2 in either direction. But that's enough to let us make that a group of 1 and that a group of 2, which also tells us that that's how that entire row goes. Also, these go here. Which is actually incredibly helpful, because it then tells us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. And then we can count off a bunch of leftmost groups. This one's 3. 2. 2. 2. I didn't have to do that ridiculous thing at all. And somehow... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then this column is done. So this should 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, great. I've now confirmed that those top groups of 3 look like that, and that makes my life easier. And I can deduce that this has to be part of the group of 2, because there's nowhere else to put a group of 2, and I can't separate here. So that has to be group of 2, and that's the one to finish that row. I'll leave that then. But this also, the group of 4. And there's a group of 2 somewhere over here, but that's not my problem. This column only has 3 groups. And I've placed 3 things. So if I fill this in, that column is completed. It then makes this a group of 2 for the row, because it has to be, and then it completes this as a group of 2 for the column, which makes this 6, and then count 4 for that group. And also 1, 2, 1. So we've finished this column. Okay, hold on. 1, 2, 3. We have 8. So all but 3. Yes, that looks correct. We have some overlap because I can now fit a relatively large group in a relatively small space. 5 out of 8. This tells me where the group of 2 is for this row and finishes that. This row is done because I have 3 groups. This is a group of 2, which then tells me this is where that group of 1 is. There's an extremely helpful, but it's not nothing. I do, however, need 2 additional groups of 1 for this row. There's only one way to make that happen. Which tells you that this is where the next 3 goes for this column. And that 2, 1. That's a finished group there. But I do additionally know that I need a group of 3, and there's only one place to put it. And this one is 3, 1. That's a finished group, and this one is 3, 3, 1. So that works like that. I also need a group of 3 here. That finishes the row, which extends our overlap. There's only groups of 1 missing from this row, so I can blank that space. What does that leave me with? 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. 2. Okay, so then that's all void. This has only a group of 1. This has only a group of 3 that has to go there, which then makes this the 2, right? 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. I don't know why that one's so hard for me, but it is. Really narrowing stuff down more rapidly than expected. And yet, here we are. 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I mean, I know where this goes, because there's just not that much space to fit both a group of 2 and a group of 3, and they need to be separate. So, like, this has to be a group of 2, and this has to be a group of 3. Which I think is plausible. This completes this row. Ends this. That means that has to be the rightmost, and then this is a 2. This is done, and this is done. And what do I have here? This is 3, 3, 2, so that has to be 2, which also has to be 2 in this direction. But then 2, 2, 2. This is nothing, so this has to be the group of 2, which makes that bottom group 3, which is chill. And that's blank, and that's filled in. Alright, that should be it. It looks a little bit to me as though it is like an umbrella or a clover or like a club as like a suit of cards that is extending out of a high-heeled shoe, which is in the lower right corner of the screen. So my guess is umbrella shoe. Thoughts? I do not feel good. My emotions have overflowed into, like, actual mental distress. It's great. Love that. Love that for me. Yeah, I'm really sticking with this umbrella shoe theory, and that feels very likely. It's definitely like a thing that human beings have used on the planet Earth before. Especially in, like, the 90s. Umbrella shoe, right? I mean, I don't know why it's got like a grip handle or something at the I don't know what that's supposed to be. And when you color it in, the umbrella definitely seems less clear to me than it did in like true pixel form, but I mean, like, close enough, I guess. I mean, closer than it should be, right, Sniper Justin? I gotta be honest, I didn't think I'd make even this much progress. And, the clothes hanger, my god, this was so hard. Like, I struggled with broken hook puzzle, and I'm just generally doing a bad job, but this is, like, way harder than anything I've done since. That one was so much harder than any other. Alright, we're here. Just sitting in the car. I want you to show me if you can get far. Now step on the gas. 10 points to the house of whatever wizard tells me what that's a reference to. Alright, so that's our overlap there, all but 4 out of 15. And now I have to start thinking again already. Not only is it a big one, I want you to look at all the columns from the middle off to the right. They're all really small groups. Now, granted, there's at least a few big numbers in the rows, but like, wow, that's not promising. I'm immediately switching to purple. I'm gonna do this row that has 8 in it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Space. 1, 2, 3. Etc. Or 1 space. 1, 2, 3. I wasn't actually expecting that. Space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, that seems correct. Oof. Already tired looking at this one. Can I actually get overlap with a 1 and an 8 in this configuration? I think I should be able to get something. It might not be a lot. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bleh, or 1 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's actually more than I thought I'd get. Okay. I mean... Oh, wow. Hey, whoa! I finished this entire column. That seems insane. That seems really weird somehow. Also, this one. So I managed to find points of overlap in 3 different spots that lined up with something that only needed 3 spots. That's wild. That looks super weird. It also tells me that this one over here, like these bottom ones are groups of 1, so like most of this is still voided out. And then, like, it's just like a point of overlap between those possible realities. And what I was originally intending to do was simply, like, X out either side of the filled-in ones. There's still, like, one floating around over here, and then more than that off to the right. Alright, that's something. So this puppy's 15 tall, huh? Got a lot of card draw in that. Oh, here's something fun. Take a look at this, Michael. There's only 4 spaces over here. That means that can't be where the group of 5 lives. And similarly, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means that can't be where the group of 6 for this row goes. So, as a result, what spaces is this? 7. That's really true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's a bunch of overlap for that 6. And I should get less for the 5 to the extent that, like... Yeah, I think I get overflow overlap in either direction. No, that's just regular overlap. 3, 5... Yeah, that's just regular overlap. That's what regular overlap looks like. Okay, does that do anything? It feels like that doesn't. I don't want to mess with these, but I'm gonna have to. It's gonna be important. Same with this 1442. The 1442 also looks bad. This, I mean, I'm hoping that this one will resolve itself. 12131. That looks not great either. I want to take a look at 452. I don't know if I get anything out of 452 out of 15, but let's find out together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Space 1, 2, 4. 1, 2. Space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody in the car. So, come on, let's ride. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's correct. If that's correct. Finish group of 1, finish group of 1. Can't fit a group of 5 over here. And then I would have to fit a group of 5 exactly there. Which feels like that should be more useful than that is. So let's think about this bad column. I don't want to, but let's do it anyway. So I'm gonna make the assertion, and I think this is part of the bottom group of 2 because I think that's actually likely false, and I want to see if I can prove that. So if this was part of the group of 2, it would have to be isolated from the rest. So it would have to be this space, 1, 2, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it would not be possible to put an additional 1 there because it would instead just make a group of 5. So that should tell me that I need a group of 2 below this. And there's only one way to do that. Is that sufficient proof? It would mean, in theory, that this would be filled in, and then this would be a group of 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's the only way that even works at all, right? It's a very... Brenner. It's the only way that works at all. What does that do for this group of 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Keep losing track. 6, 8. Alright, so I have all but 1. 3. So, yes, that is correct. Okay. That's where that goes. Okay. So, this has to be my group of 3. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Great. Only groups of 1 in this column, so that looks like that. I think I can safely conclude that for these, but I'm going to leave them alone. Okay, so there's only 1... Wait. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't like that. This column has only 1 group that could contain 3 spaces. If I count that down as a group of 5, there's no longer space to put a group of 2 below it. Which means something's wrong. I don't know what, but something. Oh. Is this correct instead? I think I neglected to count the black filled in space as part of the 4 and had that as a group of 5. But since I would need to separate that instead makes the group of 3 go over there. Which doesn't really help me rule anything out since I don't have an endpoint anymore. But it does remove the problem. Also, this is done. And I have some additional overflow overlap the way this looks now. And if this goes here... 2, 4, 5, space... Yeah, okay. I think if this specific space is blank, you can determine everything in the column above it, which is a little weird. Then that lets you close off a bunch of groups, which is one of my favorite things to do. Not. I need a group of 2, so neither of these individual spaces work, but this has overlap. What am I looking at here? This is a group of 5, huh? Neat. That's not broken anymore. What do I need here? Top group is 3, so that should be filled in, which does in fact tell me that that's a group of 5. 3, 1, 1. Need another 1. But I know that this group of 5 works this way. And also I should be able to determine something about... Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that looks like that. Which, by the property of lots of 1s, This column is complete. This column is complete except for the top one. Because I still need something to make that a group of 2. This... Whoa, 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 whoa. Something's wrong here. Because there can't be a group of 2 in this column. But also, there's no other reality I can see looking at this that makes sense. Because there's currently only one place a group of 2 could go. And it creates 2 erroneous groups of 2. I mean, group of 2 can't go there. And I've established that, like, the 2 can't go in any of these because I've already made them 111, 111, 211, 111. Well, oh no, Arcadius, you have made bad lactose intolerance related decisions. I have some sort of, like, not full consistent lactose intolerance. I have sometimes lactose intolerance. And it sounds like that's better, and frankly it probably is. But what you end up with there is, instead of just being like, I should never have dairy, is like, this might be the day that dairy hates me. This seems right. 311, sure. 152. Seems like super likely that... Actually, it would definitely mean that this would have to be the group of 3. That would have to be the group of 1. So, like, those X's hold up. Yeah, and that's still a 2, and that's still a 2. Which actually, like, interestingly... No, that probably doesn't work that... Probably doesn't work that... Echo says, when I filled 1442, I filled the top 2 groups based on the accidental thought. It's as good a place as any to remove some stuff. Like, much of this is probably true, and I could probably even go back and rework overlap, but... Oh, top group here is 2. Wait. That can't be right. Something's definitely wrong there. Because I only have, like, 1 group of 8. Huh. Is it possible that I could have really badly done this overlap? I don't think so. It would mean a lot of problems if that was true. But 2152. I mean, it would have to be. Might have to restart this. I mean, a lot of this is right. 2, 6. Alright, here's what we're gonna do. I assert a new conclusion that, if proven false, will constitute a restart of the puzzle. Let us assume that this is correct, and that, by extension, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And my reason for considering this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, that would also need to be true for this column, where I have group of 4 already, and it blocked out this space. So, were that to be true, all of those would be void. I would have overlap here, because I'm trying to fit 5 and 6. This also has to be void, and this has to be filled in. Also, like, hypothetically... I'm pretty sure that's true, which means that's filled in. Which means that's blank, which means... Wait. 3, 1, 1, 1, which means nothing? No, I mean something. So this would be 3, and that would be all the 1s in that row. And this is done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that hasn't changed. That would mean that this has to be a group of 3, and this has to be a group of 2. This should be blank, which would mean that this has to be filled in. And I guess some overlap over here, and this... not you. This should be filled in. There's only groups of 1. Weirdly, this random thing appears to be working. So yeah, this is void, which I think I had the other way before because of the misclick or whatever that generated the false 5. So then, like, that fills in fine. This fills in fine to make the group of 4, because this couldn't fit here. And then this would be blank, which is fine, except this can't be true. Okay. Alright. That can't be right. Which is weird because, like, a whole bunch more of this puzzle seems to be solved. And yet, here we are. Of course, it could just be solved on some completely false conclusion. I also once again see, like, groups of 2 where they can't belong in these columns over here. So let me reset this. God, that noise is so loud. It is why I must mute the game in order to do it. Oh, Top Hat, it's been a minute. How are you doing? Got done working a wedding and your energy's at like 5%. That's like 4% more than me. This game is, it looks like crossword puzzles, but you're trying to draw pixel art using numbers. Yeah, my brain's not working. Ask anyone in chat. I'm doing, like, just an absolutely horrible job of trying to solve this puzzle even at all. Or, like, really do anything. Just, like, function as an adult. Like, it's just not working at all. Alright, what's my... all but 4. So I get 1 on either side. Okay. I'll work with the 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Space. 2, 3, etc. 1. Space. Okay. Space. 1, 2, 3. Space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's fine. Also, thank you, Demolish, for gifting us up to this is Top Hat. Hello, hi. Thank you very much. Kaboom. Also, hello to Crit Twitch. How are the numbers treating me? The numbers are fine. I am a problem. I am the villain now. And then we did 1 space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now this logic seems sound, and was refuted by whatever I had going before I reset the puzzle. Because this is what led to pulling out, like, a bunch of column-y stuff, because, like, here's 3 individual ones that I need for my collection of 3 individual ones. Yes, come to the dark side. Yeah, I mean, a month like this, followed by a day like yesterday, certainly lead one to something dark side. Oh, oh, that's true. Top hat. Your narwhal companion has reached the point that it has a top hat on. I'm glad that it has a top hat. It suits you for obvious reasons. Okay, my leftmost group of 5 has to go over here. That's cool. That looks like that. That's fine. Can't do anything with that group of 4, or these numbers are too small. 1, 2, 4, 5. Can't do anything with that yet. Ah, but this works this way, right? Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I need 6 for this row. And so, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6 goes one of those spaces. Needs to be frozen in this state forever. Yeah, I don't know. Occasionally I've considered moving around the sub-badge hats, but I feel like the only reasonable thing that I can do is make pirate hat the top tier because pirate reasons. Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching the stream. Hope you've enjoyed. Oh, man, I want a tiny custom crochet Chopin top hat, which that's a really long name for a thing, isn't it? It sure is. Alright, somehow last time... Oh, here's... Oh, huh. Maybe this is where I went wrong last time. Because somehow I'd reached... Oh no, this is actually correct, because there's no group larger than 1 in this column. So these ones that I have filled in, they should be isolated. There should be no possibility of putting a filled space in on either side. And then when I do that, then there's no longer space to put in a 5 over there. Which means that, yep, that overlap looks like that, which is the same as we ended up with last time. I've had, like, more restarts in this stream alone than I've had in, like, I think the entire rest of this playthrough. Someone bought your most expensive item? That's exciting, Neko. Congrats on that. Here, have one of these. And based on something I did, which was also related to these individual groups of 1... 5 can't go there, which means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, which means I have to do exactly... Which I don't think is how I worked that out before, but that should be accurate. So this column has no group that is larger than 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 spaces, among which 5 need to be filled. So that's an overlap of 4. And then one of these is filled, that's whatever that is. 6. Yeah. Okay. So here, only groups of 1 here. I did some chicanery here last time. This configuration is pretty similar to where I determined bottom 2 should be filled here, which would then be like space, 1, 2, 3, 4, space, and then I have 5 total spaces I need to account for, but I have 6 positions. So if we use the, like, performative overlap, it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, base 1? No, it's worse than I thought for some reason. The numbers are not flowing. Anyway, 1, space, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fair enough. So then this can't be part of that group of 5. Alright, I don't think I could do... I don't think I can rule out half the row like I managed to do at some point the last time I tried this. But I'm pretty sure I can state that with this space being blank, everything above it should be filled. Yeah, that should work. So then let's do some performative overlap. 1, 2, space. 2. Yeah, okay, let's do it like that. 1, 2, space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Close group. And also 6. Does that do anything for me? I assume not, because I've done nothing with this column. That's fine. Just enjoying the music for a second while my brain stops working completely. Oh, because I've set this group of 4, I guess end groups. You know I love end groups. That one seems fine. The top group for this column should be 3, and since we ruled out everything above that, that should make those 3 that. And everything below it is a group of 1, which means that this should be 5, and this should be void, and then 5 should go up to here, which tracks, and tracks, and tracks, so that's promising. And then this would make this a group of 3. And then this should be a group of 3, which also makes this a group of 5. 1, 2. Alright. This all looks very similar to last time. I don't know if that 2 is going to become a problem, but we'll see about that. Somehow, I've made this into a group of 4. And that, yeah, that should be the group of 4, and then this should be 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. I counted wrong. It should be 6. It appears to be 6. And this looks like that still works, filling in 4 there. Because with, like, any literal one of these spaces filled in, these are the only 4 spaces those could go. I feel like we're gonna run into trouble. I feel like we're gonna have trouble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's cool in theory. So, okay, this is where the group of 8 starts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, now, this is more the area we were having trouble in last time. Hopefully this new approach will something. The only thing I'm missing from this 2, 2, 3 is a group of 3. So that overlap goes there. And there's only groups of 1. Wait. I don't know why I did that. That's not anything. That looks fine. And then... No, there's still like a problem there. There's still like a problem there. At what point did I rule this out? Because it's not an all ones row. Like the ones next to it. This seems correct. This seems correct. I don't think I actually specifically have a reason why that would be correct. So let's... If that's true, then this has to be a group of 3. Yeah, if the space isn't here, that's not blanked out. So this can't be part of the group of 3. This could be. Probably be these middle 3, just looking at what these top groups look like. This is finished. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1. Okay, that seems right. That would make this 2. And then it would be 1, 4, 4. Then this is filled in, right? 5, 3, yeah. Okay. In theory, this is the only ones in this column. Okay. These are nothing because nothing else can live here but 11. And that reaches to there. Only groups of 1. Only groups of 1. These other 2 are probably also void. Hypothetically, give me 4, 5. That's where the 5 should go? And then let's take a look at these. Bottom group is 1. Bottom group is 2. Bottom group is 1. Bottom group is 1. Bottom group is 2. Okay. And then that leaves space for the leftmost group to still be 3. So that's fine. This needs to be 2, so that one has to be one of the filled-in ones. 6, 4, 1. Okay. And then that tracks with this. And then I have 3 1s here. This should be 2, which is fine. That should mean that this is 2. Is that possible? Group of 3. Finish row. 1, 1, 1. I think that's right. It's a sock puppet. It's a sock puppet. There's like a hand and a sock, and maybe they glued some stuff in the corner, but like it's a sock puppet. Let me tell you that this wasn't a good day to try to play this game. This was a mistake. This was a bad call. You see the sock puppet. Don't make googly face at me in chat. You know it's a sock puppet. No. Gets much louder if you just try to like hold it and do like 2 in a row for reasons. I don't know what the reasons are, but I assume they exist. Alright, what'd I do? 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 3, 1. It's something, it's doing that thing again. It's doing the thing where it won't simultaneously accept both of these answers. But like 2, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 1, 1. How consistent Demolition has played through this game and has complained of some... Alright, that one seems to be fine now. I have to uncheck it? Yeah, like, there's something a little off here. And it's like... wind state processing or something. It's just, it's not quite right. Also, what was that? It was books. Okay. I got so distracted that it, like, wasn't finishing it. It's books. Books? I don't know if that's books. I think that was a sock puppet. Like, pretty sure. I mean, honestly, we probably have, like, at least one other, like, full stream of just case 2 optional memory puzzles. That's fine. I don't think I can do another one. I mean, I could, but I think if I did, it would take me, like, an hour. Yeah, yeah, you know it, Critwitch. You finally saw the sock puppet, and it was more likely than books, right? It's definitely like a sock puppet with like a hat on it or something. But like, yeah, I mean, I think that's gonna be the stream. Is definitely on the short side, but like, man, I am dragging butt right now. My butt is dragging on the ground when I walk, and that's not how walking works. Consult a physician. Let me, exit game. Hi, it's me, it's Big Vasco. Hello, I hope you've enjoyed. I will remember none of this. This has been very difficult for me. It's a real challenge, especially when the game is, like, fighting me. When I, like, solve multiple puzzles and it's like, you didn't do it. I'm like, no, like, I'm checking your work, and I, like, did it. I solved, like, 2 whole puzzles that you just didn't agree to. Nico says, I miss Dwarf Romantic. Maybe we could stream it sometime after break. Yeah, maybe. Like, we definitely might be due for just, like, a gap between something and some other thing. Now, it's complicated. There's something that I wanted to do, like, starting in, like, September and running through October for Halloween. But I don't know how long it's going to take to finish Murder by Numbers. Like, some time still. Like, at best, we're, like, half-ish way through the game. So, like, what installment is this? Like, 9? So, like, at least 9 more weeks? Like, at least 2 months? Maybe that's plausible. I might be able to do that. I don't know. I might have to just change my plans. I mean, I feel like we're definitely playing Nirvana Initiative, the AI Somnium Files sequel. Like, I feel like we're just doing that until that's done, like, 100%. If for some reason I had to put Murder by Numbers on hiatus, I would accept that. I feel like it is more important to me to try and finish Nirvana Initiative as early as possible. But, like, so assuming that... God, thinking is so hard. I mean, assuming it took 9 weeks to complete this game, which frankly is probably an underestimate. I don't think there'd actually be much time to do filler in between. I don't know. Maybe... You know, maybe, and this isn't a commitment, I'm gonna think about this. Maybe to offset the fact that I'm missing a bunch of summer streams, like, maybe I'll do, like, a bonus stream on, like, a Sunday or, like, a weeknight or something, if we get, like, enough channel point support or something, like we did for Halloween last year. We could consider doing something like that, and doing, like, a filler game, like a Dwarf Romantic or something. It's not a terrible idea. God, I have just... My brain has decided to revolt against everything. I'm not, like, tired. I don't want to go to bed, but I don't want to think anymore. And I think that's actually just spot on. I think that's what it is. I honestly don't know what it's like to be a normal person, because I'm not one. But, like, sometimes I'll talk to people about how much thinking my brain does, and they're like, that doesn't sound right. Like, I don't know a good way to explain this. I mean, like I said, I'm not committing to it, but, like, I'm planning on missing, like, a minimum of 4, like, maybe as many as 6 streams over the summer. And also, like, I want to finish Nirvana Initiative. I mean, the bonus stream wouldn't be that, so it doesn't really contribute to that. But, like, I don't know. doing like a bonus stream if people are interested in it. I mean, that's why it would also be contingent on channel points. But like that doesn't sound like the worst idea I've ever heard of. What do I plan for my time off? Good question. Nicole also says Secret Squirtle behind Naomi. No, I have. I'm going to spend time with family for my birthday, which is next weekend, and like that will probably be a lot of indoorsy watching television or something, because that's the only thing I want to do when I can't do like whatever I want because the pandemic exists and I just don't treat that lightly. That's for me. That's just I'm not telling you what to do with your life. I know plenty of people who are at least pushing to exist more normally. And like that's cool if that works for you. It's not for me. I lose a lot of coin flips and I'm like trying not to get COVID. That said, I also have travel planned for the week after, during which time I would hopefully be able to visit with Tech. I haven't ironed out like 100% of those details, but I should be able to see him and his child, who I've never met in person, which would be nice. Obviously not streaming, unfortunately, as part of those plans. Yeah, and just to reiterate that so I don't sound like a jerk, Sniper says I totally get that story. It's not actually that unnormal in some way. Like, one of the main things, like, there are times that I try to explain to people my thought process, and, like, to some extent, this game is actually kind of a good example of this, where, like, it's probably not all that easy to follow along everything that I'm doing, but like I try to vocalize it so like it's not just me sitting here staring blankly at the screen and going, okay, I can fill that in. But like sometimes there's like a cascading thought process, or even sometimes like in a conversation, someone will be like, how did we get here? And I'll be like, that's easy. X, Y, Z, A, B, D, C, E. And they're like, what? And I'm like, no, like that's just the conversation we had. Like, my brain just processes certain things really rapidly and some things not at all. And, like, an extension of this is that there are a lot of times when I will be unable to sleep properly for, like, weeks at a time. And it's usually stress, which that's in and of itself not that abnormal. But, like, instead of just, like, being kept awake by thoughts, what instead happens to me is that I will have a dream, but my brain will keep running. And then just, like, it will create stress inside of the dream based on the fact that it's still running on some kind of stress cycle. And it won't even be like indicative of what I'm actually dealing with in real life, but it will just be like, I am active and thus stress must occur. And so like sometimes I have just really weird dreams for like weeks on end that like aren't outright nightmares and don't like keep me awake, but I don't get any sleep because it's just my brain keeps operating and making negative emotions. So, like, it's a bad time for me. There's so many things that are a bad time for me. I'm really struggling, but it is really nice to be able to come here and share my absolute abject failure to complete nonograms with you, the viewers. Yeah, it, like, creates, like, fresh stress. Like, from whole cloth, or whatever that expression is. Like, because, like, it's totally normal to be stressed and then have a dream, and the dream reflects the stress in real life. But, like, my brain will, like, manufacture, like, a whole new scenario of stress that has literally nothing to do with real life. Just because it's like, oh, more stress is required. And it's like, I promise it's not. I promise I'm always generating an excess, a surplus of stress at all times. If there's a person in the world that needs stress, hook them up to me. I can provide. It's such a bad time, but like it really is great. Like the Somnium Files streams in particular have been like a real treat for me lately, even though I've been struggling through those a bit as well. Like just the fact that people like want to watch them and engage with them is like is just nice. Like I like to imagine that I choose games that are things you are interested in watching. And I understand that like no one's gonna watch every stream ever. Like it's just not feasible. So like I don't expect people to be here all the time, especially because like sometimes you just don't like a particular game. Somewhere there's a person who's just sworn off watching my streams entirely because they have no interest in AI, the Somnium Files, and they're like, I thought you finished that game. There's another one? And they're just like, I can't keep up with don't. I will not bother. Um but like I've been enjoying that quite a lot, and I'm really looking forward to playing more Nirvana Initiative. Frankly, this morning I woke up and I was like, I'm really annoyed that I won't play that game again for several weeks. And I like briefly considered trying to rearrange my schedule such that I could stream it again, but it's not realistic. It's not a good idea. It will make my life worse to do it, even though I want to do it. And I mean, I appreciate the sympathy in chat. No one has to give me advice. I'm not trying to solicit advice. I somehow just started from the position that my brain overthinks, and then I tried to explain it in a concrete way that would make it clear that I don't mean I think I'm smarter than you, because when I was younger, people seemed to think that I thought that. Frankly, I did. When I was younger, I was like just a real jackalope. I was just like a real rabbit with horns, and like nobody's interested in that creature. Um, but like, I definitely don't think that now. I mean, I've lived a life that's proven I'm not very good at decision making, so I really can't be all that smart. But yeah, I'm looking forward to streaming more games and things, and I hope that you will enjoy them. But before we wrap up streams for the first half of the year, I guess is how this works. Uh, Find Secret Squirtle. I've hidden one. It's not this one because you can see him, so he's not hidden. Um, Place your guesses. I think Neko said behind Naomi. I think that was the only one I saw. And I've said before, and like, the break is a perfect time to think about this. So your homework from Captain Vasco the teacher is, if you can think of something that I can add or incorporate to the stream that will enrich your experience as the viewer, let me know. And there's something that I want to do coming up that I really want everything to seem like as professional as possible. And I've reached like kind of a plateau of what's obvious for me to incorporate, which isn't to say I think that it's perfect, because it's definitely not. Like, I'm sure I could adjust the microphone to be better. I'm just not that good at it. I'm just really not good at microphone stuff. So obviously I should do this with my time. But if you have ideas, let me know. I have one that I'm thinking of incorporating when I return from the break. It just seems to make more sense to do it then than to have done it this week, which is the first time I would have done it. Missed the treat button. But the treat button, okay, there's multiple problems with that. One, I gained a lot of weight. Like, a lot of weight. I don't know how obvious it is to you, the viewer. I have gained a lot of weight in the past 2 years, and I'm, like, really struggling with that right now. So, like, a treat button's, like, a bad idea. But also, it's, like, super not a good idea to have, like, an infinite expectation of eating, like, treats on stream. Like, that's just a really good way to have bad habits. I think it's, like, a great idea for, like, a special occasion, like Halloween when we did it last time. And I appreciate the suggestion. But I think that has to be a sometimes thing. Unfortunately, Neko. What's the treat button? That's right, Sniper Justin. You weren't here last Halloween. If you want to see that stream, it was wild. When I played, what is it, House of Ashes? The Man of Medan series, Dark Paintings or whatever. I got a box of, like, holiday-themed donuts. They were very small. And I set some limit where, like, once an hour, you could spend channel points to, like, make me show off donuts and eat them. People were, like, way more excited about that than I expected them to be. Which is maybe part of the reason why it can't be an always thing. And why the treat button has to be sometimes as a treat. Okay, let me scroll through these guesses. But yeah, think of stuff, and I don't mean to sound dismissive, Nago. I go into that explanation because I have considered that. I know people were excited about it, but I have logistical reasons why I don't think I can do that all the time. Sometimes for sure, but not all the time. Center Banana Man, behind Carlos, behind Naomi. Did I miss one? Did I miss any? Just spam them again if I didn't say it just now. Was there a Man of a Dance stream? There was. I did stream those. I never uploaded those because those are before I fixed my microphone. And I don't know good how to fix that in post. There's sort of a dark age where before like the end of Phoenix Wright 2, I think is when I implemented the new microphone and then was like in charge of that myself. I was having Cotillion help sometimes with uploading stuff because he understood the post-production stuff a little better than I did. But I really wasn't able to like compensate him fairly, and I felt bad about doing that. I might be able to go back and like upload a bad quality version of those. Like a stream or two is like not the worst thing to post in low quality. That doesn't claw at the back of my brain or something. This is the people who made Until Dawn and the other ones bought another game recently of obnoxious teens getting killed by spooky things in the woods. Not like Dead by Daylight, right? Like that kind of sounds like Dead by Daylight. I'll think about it. I'll see if I could do that. No promises, because I'm not going to have a lot of time for a while, and then I might forget about it. I do recommend the House of Ashes one. That was, like, a legitimately good stream. The Man of Medan streams, I think that was 2 weeks. I think those all take 2 weeks. The Man of Medan ones were mostly me being like, this game is garbage! Why is it so bad? Like, it was really mostly just me loudly complaining. And then getting, like, especially annoyed when, like, at the start of the game, nothing matters, and then, like, at the end of the game, like, everything kills you, and it's like, this seems dumb. Most of this game doesn't seem like it needed to happen at all. Alright. I've been rambling for, like, a full, oh, God, like 15 minutes or something, so let's, like, find that Squirtle or whatever. 1,000,000 points for treat. I don't know what treat would be satisfactory to redeem 1,000,000 points on an off-stream week. Alright, sure. Last guess was, underneath our visible Squirtle pal, who wasn't a secret. That's where I was hiding Laboon! I had to put him on the couch again. Zacula was mystified that I possessed this. Let's see. Let's go with Banana Man because he's sort of hanging off Naomi. So, here's Banana Man. Hold on to the chair. I did it. Hiding under the Banana Man, behind Big Eeyore, was Donatello the Ninja Turtle. You got ninja. It's a turtle, but it isn't a Squirtle. Behind Naomi is nothing in particular. But look at her tail. I don't think I showed this off much. Look at her tail. She has only one fin. It's not clear to me why this is, but she's very good. Don't fall over. Don't fall over. Yeah, you like Banana Man hanging off the chair? It's pretty good, right? I was actually pretty happy with that. Someone had guessed behind Carlos. My Clotham son. Hiding back there was this donut cat. The existence to be... This is sort of like... So there's Schrodinger's cat, and you don't know if it's alive or dead. It's unclear if Donut Cat is made of donut or inside of donut. Those are guesses that I can immediately remember. So I will reveal that the location of the secret Squirtle was behind my upside-down smiley face pillow because I was not feeling smiley face. This is the location of our secret Squirtle. Look at him dance. What a complicated maneuver. Don't be horrified of Donut Cat. Alright. Look, it's Naomi. Everyone loves Naomi, Queen of Narwhals. I was actually a little surprised that no one commented on the upside down face yesterday, because I did the same thing yesterday. It's been a bad time for me. It's honestly probably a good time for a vacation, but it's also a struggle because, like, streaming is one of the limited number of things that I look forward to in a week. Especially lately, because I've been trying to lose so much weight. It's like I'm not really eating anything particularly fun, and I'm trying to eat better and also spend like an inordinate amount of time working out, which is really difficult for me because I hate every part of that description. So, like, it's just been really tough. So, like, I'm actually, like, kind of bummed to miss so many streams, but, like, hopefully the things that I'm doing will also be fun and things that I don't have to, like, oversee and, like, necessarily be on for. Being on can be very challenging, especially in my, like, extremely depressed emotional state currently. But that'll do it for this stream. I've just been talking for a really long time and wasting your time, but thank you for hanging out. Uh, Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. I hope to see you again in a few weeks. Uh, just to specify for those of you watching in the future or what have you. So, the weeks of the 1st/2nd and 8th/9th, I should not be streaming unless world events do something insane. I just like don't rule that out anymore. But the plan is that I will be off those 2 weeks and return on July 15th and 16th, when we'll play more Nirvana Initiative and probably the second half of the optional memory puzzles that we've been doing. It might take a little longer than that, but we should at least get most of them done. Let me know on the Discord if you have ideas about adding stuff to the stream. I am interested in trying to add stuff in the near future, and I think it is likely that when we return, I will have a new feature for you to spend channel points on. Something that I don't know if people will like, but it costs me nothing, and so the option will be there. Anything else I have to say? I don't think so. Okay, goodbye.